And we begin with some good news about the salvation of a species. The northern Corroboree frog, native to a small patch of this region, was well on its way to extinction, even before the 2003 fires which destroyed much of their habitat. The ACT government has been running a captive breeding program at Tidbinbilla, and it's taken 8 years for the first batch of frogs to be released back into the wild. We followed this story from the beginning, and our cameras were given exclusive access to yesterday's momentous event, high in the World Heritage Wetlands at Janini Flats. Craig Allen waded through the bog to join them.
How many are in each?
We've got 30, and 28.
About 30 frogs in each of these. Yep. In sphagnum from the wild, yep. Oh, and a Houdini up there trying to get out.
It's a day Murray Evans thought he'd never see.
Great. All right, that's us going.
It's been an 8-year journey to this point, and over these final few steps you could feel the nervous tension. After all, this precious cargo represents the future of an entire species, the critically endangered northern Corroboree frog.
What we're going to do is we're going to look for a good system of sphagnum moss hummocks, and we're going to release the frogs into those, and we're going to not release them all at the same hummock. We'll actually scatter the frogs across the wetlands.
These little fellas were nearly resigned to the dream time, but northern Corroboree frogs are back from the brink.
But they're looking healthy, nice and fat. Alana's done a great job of feeding them up. That's nice healthy frog, that one. He'll go really well in the wild, and hopefully a couple of years be calling and breeding.
If all the world's frogs are vulnerable, these tiny creatures were worse off than most. In the 1980s, native populations plunged when they were hit by the introduced chytrid fungus, a nasty bug that eats away at the frog's skin. Then came the devastating 2003 bushfires that scorched so much of their high country habitat. The end result was disaster for a tiny frog already struggling to keep a foothold.
Got two on your camera lens.
Just two on your lens.
They're coming off.
Yeah.
Now.
That's all right.
There are probably less than 10 frogs here. There might even be as few as 4 frogs left in this environment. So what we're doing today is a real boost to that population.
Researchers have spent the last 8 years coercing the finicky frogs to breed in captivity. And it wasn't all smooth sailing.
There have been ups and downs. One of the downs, of course, was when we had a failure in a shipping container with a refrigeration system, and we lost a lot of the reproductive effort, the tadpoles and eggs from that year. And I guess that put this day, it delayed it by about a year.
But with populations recovering in captivity, there was no point releasing frogs back into a degraded habitat. So ACT park managers experimented rebuilding their high country home, laying shade cloth over beds of sphagnum moss to protect the delicate plants, and preventing erosion from taking what little moss was left.
And in some extent, it's the minimalist approach. We didn't get up here with heavy machinery. We just came up here with picks and shovels. A lot of energy, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication by a lot of staff over the last 8 years has really given us the great environment we have here today for our Corroboree frogs to be released.
Come on, guys, you're free.
So after coming so close to extinction, this story of soggy bogs and finicky frogs appears to have a happy ending. It's enough to make even the hardened scientist wax lyrical.
I think it's a big day for these frogs. They've never felt a breeze on their face or the sun on their back or even real live sphagnum. But we're releasing them young so that they've got another 2 or 3 years to develop into mature, real wild frogs before they reach breeding age. So I think they'll adapt pretty well. This is, for me, one of the highlights of my 25 or 30 odd years as a conservation biologist. To me, this is what it's all about. When I'm old and retired and I've got false teeth and a cane, I'll look back on this day as really a highlight of my career. I'm over the moon about this.
While these little frogs find their place in the real world, the captive breeding program continues, with the goal of releasing many, many more back into the wild.
Putting out 200 frogs here is abundant habitat for these guys here. 200 frogs, we could have 10 or 20 times that population here, no problem. And hopefully one day we will. But this is just the start of it, hopefully.